What is going on, sports fans? Welcome to a brand new episode of EBC Sports International. I'm your host, Michael Hudson, coming at you from Seattle, Washington, the Emerald City. Thanks for joining us this week. So, of course, we can't continue on with the show without introducing to you all our panel for tonight. So let me start with Vancouver, BC. From Vancouver, BC, Canada, we have Zsolti Horvath. What's going on, Z?
What's going on, everybody? The NFL season is over. Means the beard is gone.
Woo. Man, styling and profiling. I love it, man. I love it. All right, next we have from Toronto, Canada, Adian Pangilinan. How's it going, man? It's been a while.
Been a while. What's up, Mike? I feel like Aaron Donald's a mood right now. Shirtless, walking around all LA, Cali, Disney. Doesn't matter. He's shirtless. It's all good.
Now you have to go shirtless. I'm scared.
That's what I'm about to do, but I got too much body fat. You don't want to see that.
No, man. No, you're being too modest, bro. But hey, thanks for joining us tonight. And last but not least, from Washington, D.C., we have the new Super Bowl champion. After years and years of heartache, finally got it done.
Woo!
Ken Cruz. What's going on, man?
Stand up, guys. I can definitely believe it because I said it was going to happen before the season. And, they say the stars align, Hollywood ending, and that's exactly what happened. 3 years, 3 wins, Dodgers, Lakers, Rams. This is amazing. Thank you. Take a bow. Take a bow.
All right. Excuse me while all of us throw up for 1 second. Just kidding. But hey, thanks for joining us tonight, guys. So as always, just want to remind you viewers at home that we are merely fans and by no means experts. But before we jump into our main topics for tonight, we do have some updates from the sports world this week. So we're going to go back to Mr. Ram himself, who is going to give us an exciting update about the recent Super Bowl that was played last Sunday. Ken, take it away.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks, Mike. And dreams do come true. As mentioned, and as we will continue to mention, the Los Angeles Rams defeated the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20 in Super Bowl 56 to secure their second franchise Lombardi Trophy. The team was able to play in front of their fans in their brand new SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. The Rams were 4.5-point favorites to start the game, but after their number 2 receiver, Odell Beckham Jr., went down in the first half, it didn't look good for the Rams as they were already without their star tight end, Tyler Higbee, and of course, Robert Woods. And then, Cam Akers is coming back. So it was tough, but both defenses showed up as the Bengals forced 2 interceptions from Matthew Stafford. But it was the Rams defense that made the difference in the game, who punished Joe Burrow with 7 sacks, 6 in the second half. Aaron Donald and Von Miller each had 2 sacks apiece and tied Ernest Jones with 3 quarterback hits. With the Bengals shutting down the Rams' run game, Matthew Stafford leaned on his triple crown receiver, Cooper Kupp, who finished the game with 2 touchdowns and was rewarded with a Super Bowl MVP. I could go on and on about this game, but I'll save the rest for the future blocks. Back to you, Mike.
I am not looking forward to that. But continuing on with this story, our very own EBC Los Angeles Bureau spoke with fans after the Rams Super Bowl win. Megs Australia reports. Let's check it out.
It goes without saying that Los Angeles is a sports-heavy city and is routinely in the mix when discussions revolve around franchise teams in the MLB, NBA, and MLS. Football, however, has been one sport wherein LA came up short not only because of the absence of championships, but more obviously due to the lack of a team. Fast forward to the present, not only has Los Angeles secured 2 football teams, they've also built a shiny new stadium, and thanks to the Rams' win over the Cincinnati Bengals at Super Bowl 56, have delivered an NFL championship to the city.
The Rams are winners. They've always been winners. This is a new tradition. This is going to be it for now on. The Rams are number 1.
My reaction to the game was that I had a feeling the whole time that Matt Stafford was going to win the game on the final play, which he kind of did. But I just always had a feeling that they were going to come back and win it. So, yeah, it was pretty cool to watch, and I'm happy for them. And I'm happy for Kupp because I think he's an amazing receiver. And, yeah, I'm just happy for the city of LA because that's, 3 championships now with the Lakers, the Dodgers, and the Rams.
Super Bowl number 56 belongs to LA Rams. A Hollywood ending was pretty crazy. So, number 1, baby, let's go.
Barely a few days removed from the Super Bowl, and analysts are already speculating over the Rams roster next season and if the defending champs have a shot at a repeat. However, many Angelinos prefer to ponder about the future later, choosing instead to take a page out of head coach Sean McVay's playbook to enjoy this moment. Megs Australia, EBC Sports International, Los Angeles.
Thanks, Megs. Next, Adian has some basketball news for us. Adian, what's going on?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mike. I have the latest update on the newly acquired Ben Simmons and James Harden. First, Ben Simmons, as we all know, has sat out every game of the season up to this point after demanding a trade during the offseason. Now he's hoping to lace it up for the Brooklyn Nets, where he has yet to make his debut. When he was asked about his return, Simmons stated, "I don't have a date yet, but I'm working towards getting back on the floor. No date yet, but I'm starting to ramp it up." Many of the questions in his first media availability since being traded were about why he wanted to be traded and his mental health, and he mostly avoided them, only addressing his concern as personal. But when asked about his fit with the roster, he seemed to be very eager to join a loaded roster. He stated, "I'm excited to get on the floor with these guys. Incredible team, incredible talent, so super excited." As for Harden, he too has yet to suit up for the 76ers, although footage was released by the team of him getting into practice with the squad and even showing star player Joel Embiid his patented step-back 3, in which Embiid even tried that in the first game after the trade, but so far the plan is that he will play after the All-Star break, meaning he will miss out on the All-Star game itself after being selected for the 10th time. Now, I hope you guys saw that comedy bit between Kevin Durant and LeBron James choosing him as the last pick, and Durant wanted no part of that. Anyway, according to Harden, the 76ers was always his first choice, dating back to his time in Houston, but he inevitably ended up in Brooklyn. That was last year. And now that he is with the 76ers, he will likely opt into his $41 million contract for next season. As for now, he continues to rehab his hamstring. And that's all I got for Ben Simmons and James Harden. Back to you, Mike.
Thanks, Adian. That jacket that James Harden was wearing, those photos, wow, that is pretty wild. But I appreciate the story, Adian. And lastly, Jolty has a quick Winter Olympics update for us. What's going on in Beijing, Z?
Thanks, Mike. The greatest rivalry on ice and possibly in all of sports is Canada versus USA women's hockey. They have a whole rivalry series. They play each year in different cities around North America. Canada and the US have also faced each other in the gold medal game 5 of the 6 Olympics that women's hockey was a sport, 18 of 19 Women's World Championships, and 21 of 23 Four Nations Cups since the beginning of international play. Only a few of Canada and US's losses have been to teams outside of their rivalry. Well, not only did they meet in the round robin portion of this year's Olympics, but we were treated to another gold medal game as Canada defeated the Americans 3-2. Canada now leads the all-time series 84-67. In men's hockey, as most know, the NHL decided not to participate in the Olympics this year due to issues with COVID and the Chinese 3-week mandatory quarantine, which would have shut the NHL season down for over a month. So as expected, Canada and the US were both sent packing as they were eliminated in the quarterfinals. Finland and Russia will now play for the gold medal in what many say is an asterisk of a game due to no NHL. In other Olympic news, American skier Eileen Gu, who is controversially competing for China, has won her 3rd medal at the Games with a gold in free ski halfpipe. The country of Norway has won its 15th gold medal of the Beijing Olympics, making it a record for a country at a single Winter Olympics. And there are still 2 cross-country skiing events left, which is Norway's specialty. And finally, 3-time Olympic gold medalist Shaun White has officially announced his intention to retire after the completion of the Beijing Winter Olympic Games. Back to you, Mike.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. So that's it for the news today. When we return, we're going to talk more Super Bowl 56. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
To Mobile Legends!
Dito lang sa Taragim, agad-agad with Aga Mula.
Welcome back, sports fans. Jumping right into our discussion for this week, we're going to give our recap and thoughts about this past Sunday's Super Bowl 56. As Ken reported earlier, the Rams defeated the Bengals 23-20, securing their first Super Bowl since 1999. After securing stud linebacker Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr. midseason, they were able to finally pull it off. Ken, I know that you want to bash in your joy a little bit more, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor, and go ahead, man.
Look, it's Avian said it during the break. LA fans are definitely spoiled, and I can attest to that, and it's an unfortunate reality for those outside of LA. I mean, technically I'm out of LA, but I'm an LA fan, lived there for how many years, so, It's difficult because I wasn't a Rams fan growing up. I just adopted a team when they came into LA, and the fact is that ownership and management wanted to win right away, knowing that in order to get fans into the stands of their multi-billion-dollar stadium, pretty much, they had to be winners, and so they invested in bringing in talent and drafting very, very, very well the last few years, and it has shown. I mean, a lot of people criticized the trade of Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford just because everyone said that Stafford throughout his 13 years or was it 12 years in Detroit was just padding up stats and 0-3 in the playoffs, and but he showed. I mean, like, the Rams, the last 3 games of the season, of the postseason, versus the Bucks, the Niners, and then obviously the Bengals, they only won by 3, and those were all through game-winning drives by Matthew Stafford and obviously Cooper Kupp. And so the gamble to get a veteran quarterback over continuing to foster young talent paid off. Even Les Need wore a shirt that is not appropriate to say what it said, but it pretty much says he doesn't care about the picks, he cares about winning now, and that, I think, resounded, and everyone from top to bottom in the organization knows that this window can potentially be short, right? I think as well as they played, you have to look forward to, you don't know if Aaron Donald's going to play again. I mean, it looks like it. They said it in the parade that they're going to come back. They're going to run it back one more time. Aaron Donald, potentially Von Miller might be gone too. Odell Beckham, even though he might stay, may not play this entire season because of the ACL situation. And then even our coach, Sean McVay may potentially retire, even though his fiance says he won't. So there's a lot of ifs out there and what ifs. But at the end of the day, you have to appreciate what happened in this postseason, in this season. There was a point in the season where I believe they lost 3 games in a row, and it just didn't look good. But getting Odell Beckham and having him actually learn the offense and make a difference, and having the team come together at the right time. Oh my goodness, it's just an amazing feeling, guys. And I don't care what anyone says. The refs did not favor the Rams. That face mask was not called on Jalen Ramsey, but at the end of the day, I can say that Joe Burrow had a chance, and instead of the offensive coordinator leaving in Mixon, who was killing the Rams on the run game, they decided to go with their blocking running back. I forgot his name, who just got pummeled by Aaron Donald. And they had their chance, but they didn't do it. So at the end of the day, Rams win, and I think this is a well-deserved win. Go Rams, guys!
All right. So, Adian, is it fair to say that this is kind of the new way of winning Super Bowls? We noticed, with the Bucs adding, or last season adding that talent, a little bit mid-season, a little bit in off-season. Rams are doing the same thing, adding Matt Stafford in off-season, and adding Odell and Von Miller halfway through the season. Do you think that's kind of the new normal into building championship teams as opposed to just building the teams through the draft?
I feel 2 ways about it. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that, obviously it looked good because it played out, right? Odell Beckham Jr. was balling. It looked like he was playing to what we expect him to play ever since his New York Giants days. And then also Von Miller made some big plays in that Super Bowl game. So those acquisitions look great because they won, but what if they had lost and, to the Niners in the earlier round? I don't think we would be having this question. But I do think anytime you are vying for a championship, you have to be buyers at the trade deadline and even in the mid-season. I think the simple answer is no. To borrow wisdom from my president of the Toronto Raptors, Masai Ujiri, championships are won in the offseason. So I think you have to look at the acquisition of Matt Stafford and keeping the core together, of the defensive linemen, Cooper Kupp, and helping him to reach his full potential this season. I feel like that's what you have to look at as to what the Rams owe their success.
Gotcha. Good point, man. Jolty, Ken mentioned earlier, there was a non-call on that face mask on Jalen Ramsey where T. Higgins caught that deep pass and scored a touchdown. There was another call. I mean, there's a lot of noise from the football community that basically said that there was a defensive holding call on the Bengals linebacker on the goal line. And, a lot of people saying that should have been holding. They should just let him play. But at the end of the day, that gave the Rams fresh downs. They were able to score that game-winning touchdown. What were your thoughts on that play?
Yeah, well, I mean, just the whole sequence, not even just that one play, just that whole sequence. The refs called, I think it was 3 penalties for the first 58 minutes, and then 4 penalties back to back in the last 2 minutes. I mean, at some point, they need to. It's just like in basketball, right? Swallow your whistle. At some point, they just need to keep the flags in their pockets. That 3rd and goal, okay, let's go through the sequence. That 3rd and goal, the one you're talking about from the 8-yard line, Stafford missed Kupp over the middle. Should have been a 4th down. Bengals were called for a holding, which if you watch the playback, there's absolutely no holding. On the very next play, Stafford found Kupp for a touchdown in the end zone. There was a holding on the offense. And then after the play, unnecessary roughness on the defense, which was, I think, Von Bell, who absolutely smoked Cooper Kupp in the corner of the end zone. He still caught the ball, but, I mean, offsetting penalties. On the next play, Stafford threw pass to Kupp that fell incomplete. Bengals were called for pass interference. That one, 100% a penalty. Eli Apple played like trash all game, and he basically tackled Cooper Kupp before the ball was even in the air. So, I mean, yeah, I could see pass interference, but it probably should have been holding. Either way, should have been a fresh set of downs. But like you said, or like Ken said, they shouldn't have been in this position in the first place, because if the refs actually wanted to call something that was a penalty, they should have thrown the flag on the face mask against Jalen Ramsey, and the Rams wouldn't have been down 3 points, right? They would still be up at this position. Obviously, we don't know how the next plays would have transpired, but I mean, these refs are in the Super Bowl for a reason, right? They were the best refs throughout the season. It's not the same crew working together. It's the best refs at their position reffing the Super Bowl, right? At some point, they need to put the flags in their pockets. You cannot make a call where there's clearly no penalty. It doesn't matter what angle you look at it from. And I'm talking about the one where the defensive holding where Kupp got held. There was no holding on that play. Let me tell you what made that play. Stafford underthrew the ball. And when I say underthrew, he didn't lead Kupp. He threw it right at Kupp. Kupp had to stop. The linebacker basically ran through Kupp, because when you have a 250-pound linebacker, they're not going to stop on a dime, right? This guy basically ran through Kupp. Stafford and Kupp caused this penalty. The defender had basically nothing to do with it. The refs called it. Game over. Would they have scored on the fourth down? Who knows? Should they have been up by 4 points because there was a missed penalty call on Jalen Ramsey? Absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's all I got to say about it. It's very confusing. Games are not won on one play, 2 plays, or even 3 plays with these 3 penalties, right? Games are won throughout the game. They had so many chances to take the lead. I'm talking about the Bengals. When you give up 7 sacks, it's very difficult to win. Just like they beat the Titans with 9 sacks, but it's very difficult to win when you give up 7 sacks.
Yeah, I was really surprised the Bengals totally abandoned the run game. I mean, they were just
absolutely.
Totally,
Mixon was tearing it up.
They had the momentum the entire game, and for them to just put the ball in Burrow's hands, I didn't think that was the best decision. But be as it may, Rams got it done. They deserved the win, so the dub to them. So staying with this topic, Cooper Kupp, as we all know, won the Super Bowl MVP. He led all the receivers with 92 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's also from Washington State, so I gotta rep him a little bit. But people are saying that he's had the greatest season, arguably the greatest season, winning the Triple Crown and now the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP. So, Adian, do you think Kupp's season was the greatest ever?
As hard as it is to say, I think so. When you're comparing him to the greats, Randy Moss, Steve Smith in that magical season he had in 2005, or even Larry Fitzgerald or Megatron, his numbers stack up with those same numbers. I mean, he was hot from the beginning of the season all the way to the end, and you saw him carry it through all the way to the Super Bowl. He was unstoppable, unguardable. I don't know how they could have done anything because he was always wide open. Maybe Matthew Stafford has a lot to do with that, and he deserves a lot of the credit. But Cooper Kupp had one of the greatest wide receiver seasons of all time. And I do think it is the greatest. You look at the yardage, the receiving yards, the touchdowns, if you include regular season yards as well as playoff yards, it was a dominant season from beginning to end. And unless you're like a Randy Moss fan or a Calvin Johnson fan or something, there's really no way to argue it.
Yeah, I mean, he's totally impressive, man. So, Josie, I know you played a little bit of football at a higher level. So, looking at Kupp throughout, not only this season, but I guess even last season as well, he had a great season. What do you think he does differently that separates him from the other wide receivers?
Well, first off, coaching has a big thing to do with it. You can tell that Sean McVay centers this offense around him, right? And so did, I'm going to shout out his college coach, Bo Baldwin at Eastern Washington. He tore it up at Eastern Washington too. He was the Division I leader in catches and I think receiving yards as well. And it's the style of offense they play, right? They play this West Coast air raid offense, constant throws, different motions, different routes. And that's the other thing I was going to say, his route running. His route running is second to none. His footwork on these routes are so precise that you could be the best corner in the league, and this guy is going to beat you on any route he runs because he knows how to make that cut. He knows exactly what your body position as the defender needs to look like for him to make the cut, and he makes the cut, and his routes are pristine. So coaching and route running are the two things that bring him over the top.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see him, he's kind of like a Julian Edelman on steroids. Because, I mean, he's like probably 50 or 30, 40 pounds heavier, a few inches taller, and he's just unstoppable, man. So, Ken, we have about a minute here, but where do you rank Kupp as far as all-time wide receivers ever to play?
I mean, that's... as much as I love me some Kupp, it's still too early, right? Give me like 2 or 3 more of these seasons, and then we'll talk. I mean, you gotta still put Jerry Rice up there, all-time great Seattle Seahawk. Just kidding. No, but Jerry Rice and the Niners. I mean, like he had that season where he had 22 touchdowns in 12
Randy
games.
Moss.
So. I mean, yeah, absolutely right. And, even Matthew Stafford's like former partner, as Aiden mentioned, Megatron, right? So, it's one of those things where, yeah, he had an amazing season, one of the greatest seasons ever for a wide receiver, for any player, position player. But, I think it could even get better than this because this was only year 1 with Matthew Stafford, guys. So, imagine once they're able to have a true offseason together, dialing up their plays and dialing up their chemistry.
Yeah, I am interested how teams are going to be playing him going forward because how it is, like a player blows up and then the next season they just totally make it more difficult. So I'm definitely interested to see how defense are going to play him. But really appreciate your takes, guys. Again, congrats, Ken. Proud of you, man.
Thank you.
I know your heart has been broken so many times. So happy to finally see that smile on your face, man. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk NBA. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We are open for business, giving MSMEs the latest market trends and business opportunities. Open for business, only on Net 25.
Sana ingatan mo lang, baka kasi maguho.
This is your turista vlogger! Aray! Uy! Huli ka!
Hello? Ano? Gusto mo na? O di break mo? Boss! Ay, kumapot.
Hey everybody, welcome back to EBC Sports International. So we're going to shift gears and go to the NBA where the Brooklyn Nets finally snapped their long losing skid. They had lost their last 11 games and finally got the W against Sacramento Kings earlier this week. They also erased a 28-point deficit against the New York Knicks last night and won the game by 5. So they're still without Kevin Durant, who's out with an injury, and as Adian reported earlier, Ben Simmons, their newly acquired guard, hasn't played a single game yet either. So Jolty, how were the Nets finally able to get back to their winning ways?
That Knicks was actually 2 nights ago. Last night they lost to the Wizards. So they're back to their losing ways again.
Temporarily.
Temporarily, yeah. No, let me shout out the consensus 5-star recruit, rookie, Japanese-born Cam Thomas. All right. Over the last 8 games, I know they've only won 2 of their last 8. He has absolutely blown up. Okay, so before 8 games ago, he was only averaging 5 points a game. He has come up to 21 points a game over the last 8. And the only thing that's driving those down is a 14-point game against the against the Kings. He had 21 against the Knicks in that comeback you mentioned, 27 against the Wizards a few weeks ago, 30 against the Jazz. And these are all in like 30 minutes of game time, right? This guy has absolutely torn it up.
It's all off the bench too.
It's all most of it's off the bench. The only game he started, I believe, was the Knicks, and he scored 21. But yeah, you're right. That's what I was going to say. It's all off the bench. So if he can keep up this scoring, I mean, they shouldn't have a problem with their bench, and hopefully win some more. Actually, no. You know what? Hopefully not win some more because the Bulls are winning the East.
Goodness. Jolty. When will you ever learn, man? Ken, when KD and Ben finally come back, do you think they'll be able to make a run at one of the top seeds in the East?
Look, they're number 8 right now, right? Sitting into this All-Star weekend, 31-28, and they're 4.5 games behind the 5th seed Bucks, which is also like the same, also to our 76ers, Cavs, and Bucks are all 2.5 behind first place, right? So, yeah, it's doable, but that's a big if of when will KD come back, right? Steve Nash just said the other day that he is unsure of, supposedly he was supposed to come back after the All-Star break, but they're being extra careful because, they don't want another setback and lose him for even longer. And then Ben Simmons is even more of a question mark of when he'll be actually ready. So where does this put us, right? Now 8th place, as I mentioned, the next 10 games. So let's say they don't have KD for the next 10 games. They're playing Celtics, Bucks, Raptors back-to-back, the Heat, the Celtics again, the Hornets, the 76ers, the Knicks, and the Magic. So realistically, this team is still pretty solid with Kyrie Irving and Drummond and even Seth Curry on the squad. But there's a chance that they can go 2-8 in this span of 10 games, right? And the Hornets and the Hawks are 2.5 games behind them, and then you have the Wizards and the Knicks, which are like 11th and 12th place. So if KD and Ben Simmons, but aren't back very soon, there's a high chance that, they won't make a playoff run. So I get that you have to be careful with both mental health and physical health for Ben and KD, but, with only 23 games left in the season for them, there's not a lot of time left.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also curious to see, how the mask mandate's going to be. I don't know what of those 10 games are going to be road games because those are the only ones that
Great point.
Kyrie can play. But yeah, Adian, let's just say the Nets do make the playoffs. Do you think they have the ingredients in place to win this championship?
Sure, they got the ingredients. They were the championship favorites probably going into this season. And that was assuming Kyrie Irving and James Harden were going to be healthy. But this team has still, again, 2 seasons in a row, a lot of red flags. The newly acquired Ben Simmons on paper should help, but he's missed more than 40 games already. So he's going to have to get up to speed with the team and how they do things. We know he's a great defensive player, so I don't think that'll be a question at all. So that part of it, I feel like he'll still have. And as long as they can defend, then they have enough firepower on the offensive side of the ball to keep themselves in games. And I do like how they added some shooting. You look at Seth Curry, Joe Harris, who hasn't played much, Patty Mills, Cam Thomas, who's a budding young player. They got a lot of weapons to surround KD, Ben Simmons, and Kyrie Irving with. Now, obviously, the biggest red flag, and we've talked about it all season long, that's Kyrie Irving. Will he play away games? Will he get vaccinated so that he can play? Rather, will he play home games, or will he get vaccinated so that he can play the home games? That's always been the question. Will New York even drop the mandates? Who knows? So as far as weapons go and ingredients go, they're probably the favorite. They have the most talent in the league, and it's not really close.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, they are still the odds-on favorite to win the East, at least right now. So that's saying something. But staying with the NBA guys, we all know All-Star Weekend is upon us, and we wanted to first show you guys the current standings. So we'll go ahead and pull up that graphic showing the standings on the East and the West. So as you can see here, we'll wait for the people to bring it up. All right, we don't have it here, but we have, like I said, Nets are favored to win the East. For the West, obviously you have Golden State. You have, the LA Clippers are actually starting to make a run without Kawhi and Paul George. Ken, with that being said, can you share with us some of your surprises in this NBA season so far?
I mean, I'll let the other guys talk about the Bulls and DeMar DeRozan, but who have both been extremely surprising. But sitting number 4 right now could be number 3, could be number 5, depending on the next couple games. But sitting right at the the upper echelon of Eastern teams is the Cleveland Cavs. I mean, it's just crazy to me how well they've been playing, overall in the season. And the guy that's been very impressive. I mean, I saw his game in college at USC and was very impressed at him and his brother. I love when brothers play very well together in college. But Evan Mobley has been an amazing. I think he leads the rookies in both rebounds and blocks. And I think he's second overall in for rookies in scoring. So the kid is starting off extremely well his NBA career, and I think he is going to be like the prototype for big men moving forward, because he has a very, very nice game. He has a great shooting touch, and it's been very surprising that he is already one of the vocal and on-court leaders for this budding Cavaliers team.
Yeah, that's huge. I was looking at the standings. They're at number 4. That's really wild. That's crazy. Adian, which team or player so far this season has really impressed you?
Yeah, I'll let Zolti talk about DeMar DeRozan because I know he wants to go off on DeMar DeRozan. But I'm going to say I'm very disappointed in the Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks. I thought because they were the 4th and 5th seed last season, maybe they'd recreate some of that magic. I thought on paper the Knicks got better, adding Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, and keeping the same team together. I thought their young talent would improve, but they've been a joke this season. We mentioned that loss to the Nets without KD, without Ben Simmons or Kyrie Irving. They lost after having a 28-point lead. That was straight up embarrassing because they let a rookie take over the game. Anyway, that's besides the point. I feel like the Knicks should be better, and it's really disappointing because we all know the NBA is a lot better when the Knicks are great. And as far as the Hawks go, we thought they would be a little more consistent this year because they had that success going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. And the fact that they're not even in the playoff picture right now, I mean, if the season ended today, they would be in the play-in game, but I'm pretty sure they had much loftier expectations. I thought they would at least make a run to the second round. I didn't think they'd be a lower seed, but the East is loaded, and that's well seen from the first seed all the way to the last. The only 7 games separates the first and the 8th seed, so it really feels like the Eastern Conference is anybody's.
But before Jolty talks about his Bulls, I want to give a shout out real quick because we're not going to get to talk about this. The Phoenix Suns are insane, guys. I am just. We don't talk about them enough. Like nobody talks about these guys, and I don't want to talk about them, but we just have to give some props to where props are due, because these guys are running the game right now. And
well-oiled machine, man.
I mean, last year they were running too, and
yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, right? They go only as far as Chris Paul goes. This dude like shoved the ref in the back, a weird guy. It's become part of his personality, and at the end of the day, like, he has not performed in the playoffs. So until he does, he's so far in his career. Until he does, I can't give these guys a chance, the benefit of the doubt in the playoffs until I see otherwise. But I mean, this regular season, like, these guys are just torching teams, and it's really crazy just to see how well they're playing right now, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and it helps that their head coach is incredible too. I mean, super underrated.
It's just a great team in the regular season.
Yeah, totally. Jolty, I know you love DeMar DeRozan. We know that you think he's the MVP. Blah blah blah. But I want to ask you for the other side of the coin. So, which team or player has really just frustrated you or disappointed you so far this season?
All right, I'll get to DeRozan in just a second. You know what, Adian, you kind of took all of my points. The New York Knicks have disappointed me this season. I'm a huge Knicks fan. Everyone knows that. These guys started off so hot on the season, and they have just absolutely tanked from there. I think we're in 12th place in the East right now you might as well eliminate us from the playoffs right now. We are, 6 games back, but the top 8 in the East are pretty solid. So the Knicks aren't making the playoffs.
That Nets loss, bro.
Oh, that was.
Don't even tell me that. I don't even want to talk about it. Not only that, but you mentioned Adian. You mentioned Kemba Walker. He was supposed to be like the next savior at point guard for these New York Knicks, and he has just been trash. No, I'm saying when he came to the Knicks.
Yeah, no, for the Celtics too. Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's been trash. Like, I think he's averaging on the season, he's averaging 11 points per game, 3 assists.
Oh.
Yeah, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. Those are terrible, terrible numbers for an he's not an all-star this year, but an all-star point guard who was brought in to be the savior, right?
He has no more needs, unfortunately.
No, he doesn't. They gave him $18 million over 2 years to do nothing. Not to mention all of the injuries the Knicks have had. Derrick Rose.
Can you talk about Julius Randle real quick, Jolty? Can you bring up Julius? What is
Where's
up with
Julius
that guy?
Randle these days?
Like, he got paid.
He played well against the Warriors.
Okay, no, you know what? Julius Randle is averaging like 30 points a game. You cannot 30 points a game and a double-double he's averaging. You cannot fault Julius Randle. One player cannot win. He's not LeBron, okay? We know LeBron is
I know, but I feel like when they need him the most, he is not performing. In the course of a game. And that's where I fault him, is that you really need him to step up, and he just puts his head down and misses a layup. It's just, where are you?
Yeah, fair enough. But real quick, before we go, DeMar DeRozan, if you're going to sit there and tell me this guy is not an MVP candidate, you are out of your mind. Listen to these last few games. Against the Kings, 38 points. Spurs, 40 points. Thunder, 38 points. Timberwolves, 35. Hornets, 36. Suns, 38. Against the Sixers, 45 points, bro. You're going to tell me that this guy is not an MVP candidate?
Yeah, he is, but would I take him over Giannis?
This is the stat. The 7 games in a row, over 35 points, over 50%, done first time ever.
That's a Wilt Chamberlain record. Wilt Chamberlain's records are unattainable. Yes. Come on.
But according to Mike, he's not an MVP candidate. Let's think about that.
No, I said he was. I just said that he's not going to win the MVP. That's what I said. I thought he's an MVP candidate for sure, but he's not going to win. Well, but we'll see. You may be right, Jolty. You may be right. But hey, good takes, guys. We're going to take one last break, and when we come back, we're going to share our next year's Super Bowl predictions, as well as answer our question of the week. We'll return in a moment.
Reklamo ng mga netizens, kaugnay ng iba't ibang modus na bumibiktima sa mga pedestrian sa Malibay, Pasay City, inaksyonan. Paghahanap ng tulong ng isang ina para sa kanyang anak na may iba't ibang karamdaman, re-respondehan na. At mga nanay sa Rodriguez Rizal na ginawang hobby ang pagtulong sa komunidad, ating kilalanin. Mga kapatid nating may kapansanan na walang trabaho, sagot na yan ng Grain Foundation for PWD.
Sabado, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi. Ito ang Responde, Mata ng Mamamayan.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Michael Hudson coming at you from Seattle, Washington. So we talked about the Super Bowl earlier in the show, and we wanted to share with you next year's Super Bowl favorites. So we'll throw up another graphic for you guys, and it's in the order from the top favorite to the least favorite. So the big favorite next year is going to be the Chiefs. Behind them is the Bills, Rams, Bengals, 49ers, Packers, Cowboys, Bucks, Broncos, Ravens, and Titans. So that's kind of your favorites for next season. So we wanted to have a little fun, and we wanted to compile our picks on who we feel will be the representatives of the Super Bowl 57, which will be held at AT&T Stadium in Dallas next year. And trust me, we understand there's been no NFL draft. There hasn't even been free agency yet, but we just wanted to have a little fun. So we're going to go ahead and share our picks. So I'll go first. So I have the Chargers against the Cowboys, and let me tell you why. So Chargers, Justin Herbert really turned the corner end of the season this year. The Chargers had the fourth most cap space heading into the offseason, so no doubt in my mind they're going to be adding premier talent to surround themselves around Justin Herbert. Their defense was a top 10 defense. They're just going to get better. And the Cowboys, the only reason why I chose the Cowboys is because I'm sticking with the pattern of the home Super Bowl team representing the Super Bowl. So, you had the Bucks last year winning in Tampa Bay. You have the Rams winning this year. And because the game is at AT&T Stadium, I'm just going against the grain and going with the pattern there. So that's the reason why I have the Chargers against the Cowboys. We also have a graphic for that, so we'll put that up for you guys. So, Ken, can you share with us your picks for next year and the reason?
If that lineup, if that matchup does happen, I will wear a Seahawks jersey, player choice. So you pick the player, yes, I'll wear it because I just am a firm believer that neither of those teams will make the Super Bowl.
Weird things have happened, like the Rams winning the Super Bowl. I mean, the
Rams, were not Super Bowl favorites, but they were actually in the conversation at least. But as far as who I believe it's going to happen is, I feel like they're going to run it back. I mean, I think just based on their performance, they're going to be extremely optimistic. I think it's optimistic, as I mentioned, that they'll bring a bunch of people back that were on this team. And I think if those guys return and, some guys chasing a ring want to come back. And the fact that Robert Woods is going to be back next year too, and Tyler Higbee. So, I mean, those guys weren't in the Super Bowl game, and they'll make, and as I mentioned, Cam Akers having a full off season to learn the offense too. So I think those three key pieces. I think the challenge that they'll have is replacing Andrew Whitworth, who's probably going to be retiring this offseason. But on the other side, I think the Bills are going to finally have that game. They're going to have the revenge game against the Chiefs and finally make it to the Super Bowl. And I think that's going to be an amazing time for Buffalo. And, just want to give a shout out to that Chiefs-Bills game this year. I think that was the game of the season. So hopefully another great game next postseason.
All right, Jolty, I know you have, looks like you have the, actually I'll have you share with all of us your picks and why.
All right, I like on the AFC, let's go with the Bengals. If and only if they can fix their O-line. That's going to be a huge if. They have the draft, they have the offseason to fix it. When you give up 9 sacks to the Titans and 7 sacks to the Rams, that's That's 16 sacks. That's more sacks than some teams gave up all season, and this is just in the 2 games in the playoffs. That's crazy. You need to fix that O-line. On the NFC, I'm going to go with any team that picks up Aaron Rodgers, okay? Because we know he's not staying in. He's going to. Listen, he's going to.
He might go to Denver.
No. He's not going. Come on. He played in the cold for how many years? This guy's going somewhere warm. He's not staying in. Where
do you think he's going? Where do you think he's going?
Let's see. Who has an MVP quarterback that just retired? And it's in a warm place, lots of golf courses. He was on the golf course last week already, right?
Oh man!
So if we're thinking like that, we're thinking about Tampa. Let's go with Tampa and the Bengals.
Man, that would be something. That would be a game right there. All right, Adian, you're the last one on deck. What's the good word?
Yeah, from the AFC, I like the Bills. I just really like what I saw this season, especially with Josh Allen and how he performed in the playoffs. One of the great all-time performances by any quarterback duel when you consider Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, I feel like Ken said, the Bills will have the edge, and they'll make it to the Super Bowl. And I think they will win it all. And as far as who is their opponent, I think it's going to be the Cardinals. I like what they had this season. I know they're in the lower NFC West.
Is Kyler going to stay?
Yeah, they're not going to have Kyler Murray.
Yeah, it's my prediction. He will.
Rodgers might go there.
If Aaron Rodgers goes there, then I'm taking the Cardinals again. But yeah, I like what I saw. They were top of the standings for a lot of this season, weren't they? And they had a little bit of a collapse. They're playing the Rams. What can you say? The Rams were the better team, and they proved it. Even though it's just by a little bit, it's all good. I feel like the Cardinals will pull it off this season.
Man, we will see. That is a messy, very messy situation. I think it's one of those.
That's another place with a lot of golf courses, and it's warm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But with the Kyler situation, it's one of those things where when you keep reading your comments and they get under your skin a little bit, you just gotta know when to turn off your phone. But we'll keep you viewers posted on that situation. But going to our question of the week, so. During the Super Bowl, we saw Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, Marshall Mathers, a.k.a. Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, and 50 Cent, a.k.a. $1.50. That's somebody.
Rude.
But an amazing.
So rude.
That was an amazing halftime show, guys. I have to say that just brought back so many memories. Middle school, wearing my Walkman around class, just bumping to Eminem like crazy. So I wanted to get your guys' opinion on which was the greatest halftime show ever. So Jolty, I'll start with you, man.
All right. Well, obviously this one you can't top this one, but let's go with number 2. Super Bowl 47, Beyonce is performing. She's halfway done her set, maybe like 3/4 done her set. Everyone's expecting Destiny's Child to pop out. Hasn't happened yet. So everyone's hopes are going down, down, and down. And then all of a sudden, boom, Kelly Rowland, Michelle Williams pop out of the stage and they start singing Bootylicious, Independent Woman. The crowd goes crazy. Everyone at home goes crazy. That was top 2 Super Bowl halftime show moments for me.
Yeah, that was a good one. Adian, how about you, man?
Yeah, it's got to be this year's. My only thing I'm disappointed is that they didn't get to go longer. Like, we only got one song out of Kendrick Lamar. Come on, man. One song out of Eminem.
2 songs.
I was a little 2 songs, but still, it's got to be. I would like to see them have their own, each of these artists have their own Super Bowl halftime show. A lot more than I would have liked to see, like Coldplay or, The Weeknd. But who am I to choose the Super Bowl halftime show? I'm happy either way.
Ken?
Oh yeah, I mean exactly this year. I think the only thing they were missing was a holographic of Tupac and
awesome.
some hydraulic cars. I was really surprised at how large 50 Cent was because I know you made the joke, but I really thought it was Eminem brought D12 and that was bizarre, hanging upside down. And then I was like, wait, that's 50 singing in the club. So that was. Then I was like, oh, this guy's about to get roasted all over social media, and he did. So that was.
I saw this. I saw this one meme. It was like Pawn Stars, and they're like, "Can I get Tupac hologram?" And the Pawn Stars guys are like, "Best we can give you is an upside down 50 Cent."
No, the Patrick Star on the top and of SpongeBob.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh man. Oh, I'm gonna go with Michael Jackson, 1993, where he just popped out of the screen and he stood on stage for like 2 minutes and everybody was going crazy. It's just, dude, he did the moonwalk and everything, bro. That was just amazing. All right, everyone, that is all the time we have for this week's episode. On behalf of everyone on our panel, thank you so much for joining us, and be sure to tune in again next week. Make sure to visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com and watch us on net25.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Eagle News to join the conversation. For Eagle News, I'm Michael Hudson. We live in interesting times.